See if it'll let me post it. Good evening. Tonight is Monday, so Taskmaster and I are here for our Monday night update on Leo Glossary and music on Leo and possibly some movies on Leo. Um, so yeah, let's get going and Task, how you been doing? How was your weekend?
Busy, but just put up a post an article before we came on air and talked about our record-setting threadcast that we had yesterday for the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, how many comments did you have in there?
Like over 1,700, 1,725, which,
Wow, nice.
yeah, it's a record for Leo, but as I explained in this article, which is up under my Leo account, Taskmaster 4450 LE. There's a baseball blog that I go to for the New York Mets. Been going to it for years, and I took a screenshot of just a game I found. They kind of put up a post. It's a WordPress blog. They put up a post. I forget what they call it, a game cast or whatever. And
Uh-huh.
they got the lineup and they write up a little bit about it. And then there's a comment section. And this particular article that I found, I did a quick Google search. Regular season game. So they play 162 of these things. Nothing special. Certainly does not compare to the Super Bowl in terms of magnitude. A game in August, 3,200 comments. So
Wow.
when we start to look at the things in perspective, and this is just one team and a pretty shitty team at that. It's not the Yankees or the Dodgers. In baseball, which isn't the most popular sport, doesn't rival the NFL in popularity, probably doesn't even rival the NBA in popularity. And it does 3,200 in a regular season game where there's 162. So basically, the point of the article that I wrote, and this isn't really Leo Glossary, but the point of the article is next year for the Super Bowl in 2025, the goal is going to be 15,000 comments. So we have a year basically to get people accustomed to engaging and using Threadcast. And there's leading into the music on Leo. Caleb Marvel as for the last 10 days, and we kind of touched upon it briefly last week, but it was just kind of forming, and we've had a week to play around with it. But
Uh-huh.
every day, Caleb Marvel puts up a threadcast, and it's kind of he calls it a party timer. And what it is we go in there. It's kind of like the idea he initially had was of being a DJ. Come in there and what music do you want? And he'll take requests and he'll put music up there. And a bunch of us got in there. And each day we go in and we put music up, we chit chat, we talk about music, we converse back and forth. We open up the threads and listen to the songs, all that type of stuff. And right now, there is like 516 comments and over 300 page views
Wow.
just on this one little thing that we're doing. I think our peak last week we hit one day of 700 comments. So really, I mean, it's yeah. And keep in mind, I mean, we had a record non-Zealy day yesterday for page views, I believe. 22,000 page views on Leo total. And the Super Bowl had like 850. So as you can see, even these little threadcasts, if you get enough people involved and you get enough people clicking and opening the threadcast and going in there at different times of the day and posting their music or asking for a song or whatever, it can add up. And then, of course, for the Music on Leo initiative, it's great because he even posts in there links to the Music on Leo stuff, to the playlist, to the singles pages. And you can go right into the singles page and grab the music from there. It's already in the thread. so you don't have to do anything but to grab the URL and throw it in the party room. So
Wow.
it's just, this is an initiative. This is where the exponentiality of things on platforms come from, is because here's somebody who had an idea. No interaction with me, no interaction with you, no interaction with anybody else. And all of a sudden I came across it. It's like, okay, well, let's do this, this, and this. And then somebody else had some other ideas, and it just keeps growing. And it would be great to get 5,000 comments in that over the course of a day. But it just shows, when you have 3 or 4 people, you can get the numbers up. But what happens if you have 15 people, 20 people, 30 people? And that's my point. You don't need 1,000 people in these rooms. You need 20 people coming in and out throughout the day. And, I think it's something that we have to start really pushing, because then a lot of these other initiatives can feed right into it. And trust me, anytime anybody's had a question about anything relating to music, if there was a music page, I grabbed the music page and I put it there, the singles page. Anything, anytime anybody asks, like, oh, well, do you have any David Bowie? And it's like, here's a whole page of it. Here's a whole page of
Right.
it. And what it does is, I mean, Boomer Tunes is showing up all over the place, because you put up a lot of music, and it's like, okay, well, when you go into the Partridge Family, when you go into some of the stuff you've done, it's like, okay, well, I grab a URL, I don't even look at whose it is, boom, there it is. And then if somebody happens to click on the thread itself in the room, on the embedded thread on your song, and open it up, there's a page view for you. So, what happens if this stuff is constantly being spread around, and there's enough activity where all of a sudden some of these songs start getting you 225, 250 page views a month? You're going to be paid off that, because it's your URL. It's tied to your account.
Wow. It's pretty amazing. Uh,
Yeah, and that's some of the stuff that I keep harping upon. Think like an owner, not a user. And I don't know if Caleb Marvel was thinking like an owner, or just doing something he thought would be fun and engaging and exciting. Either way, it's fine. Me thinking like an owner of Leo, like Leo is all mine, I'd be excited as hell about this. Leo's not all mine, and I'm excited as hell about it, because it's just something simple that this person has gone out, took unto himself, thought up something, and it's like, support it. And it's just such a simple initiative. And I've thrown out dozens of these initiatives, and unfortunately, unless I do it for the most part, they don't get anywhere. News on Leo is starting to get some traction. There's people using that. And not surprisingly, it's a top trending tag. Nothing major, nothing with stickiness, but at least, there's information there that people can read and say, okay, Gary Gensler did this. Okay. Let me click on the article. Let me see what this is about.
yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, where are you with the movies on Leo stuff? Like,
Well, the person who is doing the movies, I've been working on the actors, and I haven't done it the last 4 days. I've been kind of lax. I've been on other projects, but I've been doing actors, dead actors. I got the list, probably total 2,500, probably done 1,000. So there's probably another 1,500 dead actors, and then the live actors are being scraped, and then we're going to have to go scrape the movies. So, but the person who was doing the movies, she had a conflict, so she was doing pretty much 5 movies a day, and that's on hold. A lot of this stuff's on hold because of the UI. Now, the latest update on labs, on the article writer, has a tab for polls. Now it's not live, but it's built into the writer, into the page. And
That's
so
where you do publish, like for the articles. Is that like the
yeah, where you can put a poll on a blog page, on a long form page instead of just a thread, which is crucial for the movies because all my movie pages and all my actor and actress pages are blog posts. So I haven't decided if I'm going to put a poll on the actor pages, but the movie pages. I mean, now you're creating an IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes type scenario, where all of a sudden you have the page, you have the cast, you have the plot, you have a write up, you have a trailer, and oh by the way, there's a poll, a decentralized poll, and people who have a Hive account can vote on the poll. And, on a scale of 1 to 3 or 1 to 4, rate this poll. One being awful movie to 4 being amazing movie or whatever. And it's the same thing we can do with the songs. So but we just have to overcome some technical difficulties there. But once that is in place, then I can play around with putting the polls on the movie pages and get enough of them done. And then, again, like I was talking about with the Threadcast, or not Threadcast, with the playlist, now there's something to market. Now there's something to pass around. Now there's something to show because you have some numbers. Hey, there's 500 movie pages on Leo, which, you can vote on or something like that.
now the issue with we still can't put polls on. We can't edit the song threads with polls, right? I mean that.
Yeah, I tried it yesterday. No, that didn't work. I tried it yesterday on just putting new stuff up. It didn't work. Today, I was told that polls worked in subthreads, like in a threadcast. Tried that, it didn't work. So, as far as I can tell, polls right now are an issue. It hasn't been resolved. So, um, I don't know. Maybe I could go in and try in on labs. I didn't try it on labs. I tried it on the production, but it's a waiting game because it doesn't appear that it's working.
So how do you do that in labs? Like how do you get to that to mess around with adding stuff or whatever in labs? Is there
It's just labs.leofinance.io, and then
Oh, okay.
you log in with your keychain. You're going to have to approve it, just like you do any other site, and then you log in, and it looks exactly the same. It's the same as Leo, except that it has some other features that maybe they put on there that isn't in production, and then there's bugs, which that's the point of it, is try to find the bugs before they go to production.
Right, okay. Okay. So like are we still like we're basically in a holding pattern for like putting the polls on the threads because it's still not working.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do much good to put up a poll on a thread and then all of a sudden it stops working. And so when people see it, it just does that spinny thing and says cache it. Or you put rate this song, which I did a couple times, and that appears in the edit, but nothing else does. And it's like, okay, well, that looks kind of stupid.
Well, yeah,
So
'cause it'll just annoy people and make them go away.
well, it makes no sense, and it's like, I mean, odds are they're not going to see it, but um, because it's below the embedded song, so who really looks down at the bottom unless there's something to grab their attention, like a poll. But I mean, it's to mess around with it, knowing that it's spotty at best. It could be just a waste of time. So I'm not into. I mean, there's enough stuff that require going over and backtracking and all that stuff. I'm not going to try to create more by just doing this now. So, what once once we see polls are working on the production site, and okay, it's. I mean, even if they're still not editable, working in the edit until that's fixed, at least we can add new stuff. But then we got the problem of new stuff is you put an embed video up, it doesn't show up. Doesn't show up in the community. It doesn't show up anywhere in the latest feed. It'll show up on your feed, but then you go search the tag, it's not there. So adding new songs doesn't even make much sense right now either, unless you're somehow moving them to a Leo Glossary page or doing something like that immediately, because it's not going to appear in the database. Now, maybe they have to do some update and rerun everything and it'll pick that stuff up. But I mean, I put up a whole bunch of uh, just wrestling stuff the other night because we need video stuff on there. And so I went around and was just throwing up, old wrestling bouts or whatever. And I went into the wrestling tag, nothing in there. It's in my feed, but it's nothing in there.
So it's
So
not getting indexed properly.
yeah, it's not being picked up. So I don't know what the deal is. And that's only with the embedded stuff, with the embedded videos. The other stuff gets picked up. Now it gets missed once in a while because there are node issues and all kinds of crap going on. But at least you put up a playlist because there's no embed in the main thread, then that's fine. That'll show up, and then you put the things below. But then I went into Music on Leo today, typed in playlist in the search, and I only got 4. I scrolled down, and it doesn't go anymore. So, I mean, there's all kinds of wonky stuff with the site, and it's unfortunate, but that's what we have to deal with.
And, working on it from the bottom up like this is kind of interesting watching it develop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's if you want to understand network effects, if you want to understand exponentiality, if you want to understand digital platforms, build a database, because it really does show how, as time goes by and as we consistently do stuff in spite of setbacks, every day things get bigger and bigger, and people latch on to different things. And assistance, I don't know if that's the right word, but you get assistance from different areas just by the nature of being on the platform. So for example, music on Leo is going to be enhanced with the next 3 updates, whatever they may be, to the search feature on Leo. The more the search feature on Leo improves, the better it is for music on Leo, because then we will be able to find stuff easier. Now, I don't know what they're planning on with search, but whatever updates they do, if it's an improvement, it will only help music on Leo. What Caleb Marvel did helps music on Leo, because now of those 500 comments, at least a third of them were probably songs. Most of those songs were taken from the Music on Leo database. And so
Wow.
now you have these songs being embedded into other threads that I don't know what that does in the search. I don't know what that does for search engine rankings. I don't know what that does for findability. But again, it's I guarantee you, Coyotelation and Caleb Marvel by now know the name Boomer Tunes. If they didn't know it before, they know the name Boomer Tunes now because you're seeing. And that's what I said all along about being one of the people who gets stuff in the database. Once it's in the database, it's there. And we don't, I mean, we are going to swap it out at some point based upon a few different parameters, especially if the edit doesn't work. So then if the edit doesn't work, guess what we got to do? Start from ground zero. But the point being is this is a great way. And when I had this idea and I started talking about it with Django and on the air, it's like this is like digital real estate. So if somebody wants Stairway to Heaven, whoever put that in the database, if that's grabbed off of the Led Zeppelin singles page and dropped into a music room, dropped into the latest feed, dropped anywhere, rethread. Well, you can't rethread right now, right from the thread. They have to find it, on your blog page, but or on your profile page, excuse me. But if that's sent out, guess what? That puts your name out there that much more. And when you have a lot of songs in the database, you're going to be found. And for the most part, it was about 6 or 7 people who did most of the work. And plus, people are, Coyotelation puts up his own stuff. No big deal. I mean, all he's doing is he's going to he goes to a playlist that he made, grabs the playlist, opens it up, grabs some songs from that he uploaded or he embedded rather, grabs it and drops it in the room. Okay. And if somebody clicks on it, it's another page view for him.
Now, okay, this is because like when I was doing playlists and like I'd find a song like under your profile. I mean, how are you getting credit for that? Is that just because I'm going into the thread and pulling the song off
You're
of there?
you're talking about two different things. Playlists do not read music on Leo. The
Okay.
only music on Leo part of the playlist is the playlist itself. Now, the reason why I suggest using the music on Leo database to build your playlist is when you go into music on Leo and open up the song, you're opening up the song. So it's a page view. The second reason is right there, you already have the username or excuse me, you already have the artist name and the song name already formatted. Plus, you have the video, so you can right click and grab the embed code. So it's very easy to switch back and forth and just do a couple copy and paste and put this in your playlist. And so when I build a playlist, let's say I do a mixture of Nigerian singers, I'll open up the singles page for these 4 singers. I'll choose 2 or 3 songs for each singer. And then I just go through and I grab the artist name and the song, drop it in the playlist, embed code, drop in the playlist, X out of that one, go to the next one, do it. And, 3 minutes later, if that long, I have 10, 12, 14 songs in a playlist because it's all the information's there. I don't have to go search YouTube and I don't have to type in YouTube, but then I have to choose from 3 different videos and, this one's blocked to external sites. And I don't have to deal with any of that. It's all in the playlist. So it's just a speed factor there. Plus, when you open up the song, if you were the ones, if I'm doing a Led Zeppelin, let's say, and you were the one who put Stairway to Heaven, when I click on Stairway to Heaven to open it up, it's clicking on, a thread that's yours, essentially.
Okay, so that's how you get the page view when somebody goes in and clicks on the song.
Yeah.
Artist. Okay.
Yeah, it's no different than, going to a thread on latest and right-clicking it and open it up, or in your notifications, right-clicking and open up your notification in a new tab. Those are page views. And this is the point where if people start using these resources that we've set up. And even if they use it to build playlists, I don't care, because you go in and you're clicking on the original thread that's in the Leo Glossary database. So there's only one Stairway to Heaven song in Leo Glossary database, at least under Led Zeppelin. There may be somebody else who covered it or something like that, but
Mm-hmm.
there's only one Led Zeppelin song. So whoever put that in there, as soon as you go to Led Zeppelin single page, scroll down to Stairway to Heaven, click on it, a new tab opens up. There's the thread. There's the song. There's the username. There's Led Zeppelin. You take all that, you put it in your playlist. Okay, now there's a different Led Zeppelin song on Leo. There's the second one. But the original in the database is still there. So every time somebody goes to that singles page of Led Zeppelin, they're going to keep going back to that original one. And people say, well, why have more than one? Well, shit, type in Stairway to Heaven in YouTube and you probably get 50
Mm-hmm.
versions of it.
I noticed that when I was looking for music for whatever group I was trying to, or even when I was doing like the members of the Eagles, their solo singles, there was like two or three instances of a song, especially if it was one of their more popular songs. It was like some of them played better, looked better than others. Like if it was a video, some of it was like more clear than.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you'll have the studio. You'll have maybe the official video, especially it's from the 80s. You'll have
Mhm.
the official video. Then you might have a live version. Hell, you might have three or four live versions of the same song. One they was in 1989, one was in 2001, and one was in 2021 when they're ancient. They're sitting there with their walkers playing bass. So I mean, again, it's, to me, I started calling it the Leo formula. And it's very simple. Page views equals ad revenue equals Leo purchased. It's that simple. So every day that you generate page views, you are buying Leo, quote unquote buying Leo. Well, rabbit ear. You're buying Leo. You're not doing it directly out of your account. You're not swapping tokens of A for Leo,
Mhm.
but you are contributing to the amount of ad revenue that Leo gets, and that will, through the smart contract, buy Leo. So you are purchasing, quote unquote, again, Leo through your activity. So the idea is to get enough stuff in there that is, as Django says, has some stickiness to it. That it's not, oh, it's raining today. Good morning, friends. Which, 3 minutes later, who gives a shit about that post to begin with? But 3 minutes later, who really gives a shit about that thread? Nobody. But a Stairway to Heaven song, that thread in 5 years from now is going to have the same value as it does today. Because if you want to listen to Stairway to Heaven 5 years from now, you hit play the same as you do today. And so, as I've said all along, and this is the idea of growth, the more that's in there, and this is why I was so hot and heavy before, again, technical difficulties, please stand by, why I was so hot and heavy on these playlists. Because if we can go out and say, listen, we got 500 playlists with over 5,000 songs, and we got 1,000 playlists with over 5,000 songs, all on Leo, that says something. That's a lot of pages, a lot of threads that technically that people compress. Because to open up a playlist, you got to at least open up the top line thread. You may not open up each individual thread underneath. I mean, hopefully you would, but most people won't. They'll just play the different songs right in the thread without opening them. But the point being, what if you have a playlist that somebody sends out on, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever? They created it, they send it out, and all of a sudden 250 people visit it because they drop it in, you know, uh, I don't know, a
I,
Jay Giles band community on Facebook, and all of a sudden 250 people run over to see it. I mean, you just don't know. And this is where it becomes it becomes a numbers game in the sense of you need more numbers till you start finding your hubs. And your hubs are they when you study network science, you come across things like Metcalfe's law and Reed's law. I don't know if you're familiar with them, talking about network effects. And Metcalfe studied communication systems. Primarily, he based it upon fax machines. And the idea is one fax machine is worthless. It's a boat anchor. It's not even a boat anchor. It's a paperweight. But all of a sudden, you add a second fax machine. The second fax machine not only has value, it has more value than one because it increases the value of the first fax machine. Now you add a third fax machine, there's two connections that can take place. The third fax machine's worth more than one. And the difference between Reed law and Metcalfe's law is just math. They disputed how much the value was. And Reed's law is probably pretty accurate for fax machines. Metcalfe's law, excuse me. Reed's law probably is a lot more accurate for social media networks. But it's all the same thing. It's this concept. And the flaw with their concept is they said every node's the same. Well, it's not. And here's the reason why. If Leo goes down, if the Leo node goes down, nobody gives a shit across the spectrum of the internet. But Cloudflare goes down, you got like a third of the internet gone. People care. So
mhm.
that's what it is. And that's why I say everybody on Leo needs to work on making themselves a hub, which means you're a power user. You're a you are worth more to the platform than just other people. And it's not because you're any smarter. It's not because you're any prettier. It's not because you're any a better singer or dancer or richer or anything like that. It's because you have the connections. And that can come from a bunch of different ways. That could be because you're very popular on our social media, people follow you over. It could be because people like what they say and you find you to be very insightful. It could be because you are just doing a lot and you're all over the place. I mean, there's a variety of reasons, but the bottom line, it could be because your stake grows. I mean, let's be honest. People look in other people's wallets and I mean, how many new people click on somebody who has 100,000 Leo and say, I'm going to follow them because, oh, wow, they're rich.
Mhm.
Uh, so, the point being is I'm a hub on Leo. And it's not necessarily because of my stake, although that might have part of it. It's not necessarily because I do the most threads, although that might be part of it. It's not because I am so involved in Leo Glossary music on Leo, although that might be a part of it. The point being is if some schmo leaves Leo, nobody noticed. If I stop, numbers collapse because I'm such an oversized impact based upon my activity, if nothing else.
Yeah, when you go to bed, what happens?
Well, that and I mean the late at night is it drops even before I go to bed because of the Nigerians. Nigerians are either the first or second largest traffic on in Leo, and of course they're like 5 or 6 or 7 hours ahead of me or whatever they are. I don't even know, but they drop off at 9 o'clock at night my time or something, and it just starts to crater. But the point being is, and this is a problem that I think people don't realize, like Cal is a major hub. Cal posts anything, he gets like 7 comments. He posts a thread, he gets 7 comments. Now, there's a lot of shit I post, I don't get any comments on. Now, if Cal posts as much as I do, would his comments per thread diminish? Probably. But the point being, I don't think Cal realizes that he's a major hub on the site. And so the fact is, when he's not there, the site suffers because he is a hub. because of his position, because of what he's done, because of his influence, because of all that. And this is what I mean by everybody needs to start focusing on making themselves a hub, is so they can garner the connections, which that provides the resiliency for the system. That makes the system more resilient because those are the people who are going to keep attracting more people and having those connections form. And guess what? Each time those connections form, it strengthens the entire platform. And so there's a variety of ways to do that, but people need to do it. And I don't care if you're involved in books on Leo. I don't care if you're involved in news on Leo. I don't care if you're involved in music on Leo. I don't care, what it is. You have to do it. But the idea of just posting good morning friends, or just coming in saying, oh, my boss fired me, or work sucks, or this site sucks, or all this other stuff, that gets you nowhere. You're destined to be nothing, because I'm
Or
going
the
to
price of
overlook.
Bitcoin in any.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay, great. You talk about Bitcoin, but it's again brings something to the table that, I mean, listen, I'm sure there's a lot of people who think I'm an arrogant son of a bitch and they don't like me. In fact, maybe that's the opinion of most people. I don't know. I frankly don't care. But I will tell you this: I'm on the radar. I'm
Right?
on everybody's fucking radar. You are not on in Leo, and you don't know. You don't see me. I'm on everybody's radar. And it's not because I'm anything special. It's not because I'm anything great. It's not because I'm so insightful, although I am very insightful.
You're
But
doing the work.
I'm everywhere. I'm fucking there. And if you don't like it, fuck you. I'm still going to be there. It's like people complained about me with the music on Leo because the site was dead. I don't know if you saw the episode. John Go brought it up. He said somebody said you were spamming the threads. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, you were doing the music on Leo thing and you were just putting it up. I said, you know what the solution is? To keep me from having 25 threads in a row? Fucking post.
Right.
Post threads. Outpost me. I don't give a shit. I mean, it's, and I do it with news on Leo. People say, oh, that doesn't do anything. Shut up. Fucking piss me off. I'll just do twice as much.
If you're sitting there just looking at it and complaining, you could be
Yeah.
spending that time putting your own stuff in there.
Yeah. And I don't post. I mean, sometimes I do, but very rarely do I post anything that's just nonsense. What I do is almost everything I post on threads. I mean, the nonsense gets into the threadcast. That's where I'll fuck around. That's where I'll post stupid shit, that type of thing. But on threads itself, I'll post news on Leo. I'll post quotes on Leo. I'll post memes on Leo. I'll post music on Leo. Uh, I'll post a picture of the page views that we get from Simple Analytics. I mean, things of that nature that even if it doesn't have stickiness, at least, I mean, news on Leo, it's like, okay, it could have some information. It's like Eric Burgoyne, I think is his name. Eric. I,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know his profile pic in his name. I never really looked at his last name. Uh, we were going back and forth in the Super Bowl threadcast because he's a big Chiefs fan, and me, I'm an asshole, so I just got to be an asshole.
And you're trolling John about Taylor Swift.
Well, yeah, I mean that's not being an asshole. That's just necessary. I mean that's like breathing. Troll John about Taylor Swift or Josh Allen, or stop breathing. I mean, it's like there's no choice. It's like, okay, we do this. What was I say? Oh, Eric, and he posts. He's been posted on News on Leo with the sports tag. Upcoming hockey games, NHL games. I guess he's an NHL fan. Now, personally, I could give a shit. Although I did learn something. He posted about the Seattle Kraken. He said the Seattle Kraken play so and so tonight in NHL action. I'm like, that's a joke, right? It's like, no, that's a team. I mean, it's been so long since I paid attention to NHL. I didn't even know they had a team in Seattle, and especially didn't know the Kraken. But he's been posting that stuff. Now, is it important to me? No. Does he have to appease me? No. Does he have to do something I'm happy with? No. I mean, I'm not unhappy with it, don't get me wrong, but
Right, right.
he's not posting that for me. I don't give a shit, but who am I? So post it. And I'm glad to see him posting it because you know what? Maybe people are interested in the NHL schedule. And you know what? Maybe nobody is other than him. And that's fine too. So uh, it's more information there that if somebody from the outside does skim through and says, oh, okay, there's a hockey game tonight. Um, you know, you never know what is going to catch somebody's attention. And that's why going in so many directions looks disorganized and people say, oh, well, we need to focus. We need to be have a game plan. No, that's totally 100% against networks. Networks just they're complex organisms. They're organic. They go in different directions, even when they're synthetic, digital, as we're dealing with here, and they just mushroom on their own. I don't know. I mean, maybe Caleb Marvel gets 25 or 30 Nigerians over or Africans over the next 60 days into this party room, and maybe they're doing 5,000 comments a day. What the hell do I know? I mean, who knows what that'll blossom into? Or maybe it does nothing. Who knows? I don't know. Um, I think threadcasts are the way to go. That's an area I'm pushing. But maybe the hook ends up being books on Leo. Maybe that taps into the right market, the right community. Somebody talks to the right person, and all of a sudden that thing takes off. Who knows? None of us
Right,
know.
right.
Um, so that's why you just keep putting up more information, and you get the numbers. So then you can start to promote the numbers, and that's why, I was constantly looking at. Um, what's that site, High Buzz, and seeing how many blog posts were under Leo Glossary because that was showing how we were growing. And I was talking about that growth. That's why I chart the songs. That's why I chart the playlist. And it's like, that's why I can tell you, okay, we're up to 100 and some odd for the month, and we got 2,100 songs. Since we started, we're up to this and that, and we get to a certain level, and I don't know what the level is, but what happens if we have 15,000 playlists? And you sit there and say, over the last 6 months, we built 15,000 playlists on Leo. Here they all are. And you drop that on Twitter. It's like, holy shit. Or we say, oh, we have 20,000 songs in music on Leo. Look at all these songs. Look at all these artist pages. There's 700 artist pages or whatever. I mean, I don't know what number it'll take to impress people, but all of a sudden at a certain point, and we even got Cal's attention on the Friday Lions Den. I was talking about playlists, and he said, "Do you?" And I dropped the playlist into the Threadcast, and he responded. He said, "Maybe we can do something with this." I'm like, yeah, build it into the UI. And I said on air, I said, listen, my approach is very simple. And Cal agreed with me. He replied in the Threadcast. I said, all I do is I come up with and I'm telling everybody this who was listening. I said, come up with an idea and work your ass off on it. Develop it and get to the point where when you go to Cal, he can't ignore it. And I couldn't do that on the first Music on Leo song. 3 months later, Music on Leo is still building. He can't ignore it because I've talked about it. I've written about it. I keep mentioning it. It's in his face. These playlists keep showing up. And he's like, holy crap, look at all that you've built. And that's the cool thing is you build stuff in front of everybody, right in front of their eyes, and they still don't see you. Till all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, that's what you captured? Because you're not going to see 4,000. I mean, you'll see 5 or 10. I mean, you put up under Boomer Tunes, you put up a bunch of songs because you're building up a page. And it's like, okay, you see that. But, you see 10 songs at a time. Who cares? Nobody knows how many are in the database. But all of a sudden now you take and you say, look at all these pages. Look at all these artists we have. And there's I forget what we have, like 120 artists or something with singles pages. Some only have like 4 or 5 songs. Some like Taylor Swift, John Go. Which reminds me, I'm gonna have to send him the Taylor Swift single page so he can listen to it on his way to and from work. Uh,
Yeah. It'll make his commute all that much better.
but there we go. Sean NFT. That guy or girl, I don't even know if it's a guy or girl,
I
but
don't
Sean
know.
NFT. There's like 200. Taylor Swift has the most. There's like 200 Taylor Swift songs. I think he or she grabbed every song Taylor Swift ever did. I mean, I thought the Rolling Stones were impressive. I got them to like 140. Taylor Swift blows it away. So, you know, there's a lot of songs in there, and we just, technical difficulties aside, we keep building it out and building it out and building it out. So that's my goal. As I said last week, as I keep saying every week, what happens if we have 50, 100, 200,000 songs? What happens if we have, all 40 WrestleManias? And I don't know if all 40 WrestleManias are on YouTube, but what if we upload all 40 WrestleManias? What if we uploaded all 40 SummerSlams and Royal Rumbles? What if we started to upload? I mean, I went through, I got a page made up under Leo Glossary. I went through, as I mentioned before, grabbed Johnny Carson clips. They're all over YouTube, and grabbed a bunch of Johnny Carson clips with Jonathan Winters and Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Don Rickles and, all the classic Johnny Carson interviews. Uh, I mean, the other night, what I was doing, I was going back and forth between Henry Chow, I think it's Henry Chow, the comedian, and Royal
Okay.
Rumble videos. And I was posting all these. Unfortunately, as I said, technical difficulties. But, Henry Chow has a bunch of videos. I mean, we could do this with Joe Rogan videos and take his YouTube. I mean, it's just endless.
Infinite possibility.
It is infinite. And then if you have some type of search and people start showing up and they go to search and they type in Joe Rogan, and all of a sudden they see Boomer Tunes, just as an example, on the search, and Boomer Tunes has the first 10, what did I say, Joe Rogan clips.
Mm-hmm.
It's obvious, I mean, that you just keep watching Boomer. I mean, it's just, and all of a sudden they just keep going through, and it's like, look at all these Joe Rogan. And then the other thing is the recommend. Okay, it's spotty, it's only on long form, but if you scroll down to the bottom of an article on Leo, there's a recommend before the comment section.
Okay. Is that might be related or whatever?
Exactly. And that could be a thread, that could be another blog post. And
Oh,
so
yeah, I've
what
seen that.
happens if they bring that to threads? And I'm going to push Cal again for this very reason, music on Leo. If you have a song there, what if you get other songs? Now, the playlists are already starting to do this because people put the word playlist in the thread. I have playlist on the page, and everything I do, I put either playlist or album. So when there's a playlist coming up, the natural inclination is on one of those playlist pages to suggest a playlist. So that's only going to improve with time. And the more that improves the stuff we've already done. This is how the exponentiality works. I don't have to do it all on my own. We do stuff and we just ride whatever cows do. May have to wait a while, but again, if he goes live in the next couple of weeks with polls, I mean, then polls are going to be posted all over the place. A lot of my time, at least, is going to be spent putting polls on a lot of shit, both long form and threads. But that adds to the utility
Mm-hmm.
because guess what I'm going to do once there's enough polls? Have you voted on music? Here's a whole artist page. Go vote on Madonna's songs. Here's a list of 20 movies. Go vote on whether you like these movies or not. Now all of a sudden these things are interactive to another degree, and it's not adding that much. And so then it just becomes simply a numbers game. And again, I don't know why people don't understand this, because the Leo formula, page views equals ad revenue equals Leo purchase. It's very simple. And all of this tries to lead into what Cal's calling the flywheel effect, and what he's trying to create from a economic, tokenomic revenue standpoint. But, in my opinion, he's not going to get anywhere without the stuff we're talking now. He needs the network effect. And that network effect, since we have no commerce per se, um, other than maybe Leo Premium, uh,
Mm-hmm.
has to come from these other initiatives.
So I mean, those party things they're really like big. Those threadcasts are big, like playlists, or they have playlists in them, and
They have all kinds of shit in them, but yeah, yeah, I guess you could say it's kind of a playlist, certainly, because it's a community playlist, if you will. People are throwing in whatever they want. Some of us, for the most part, the main ones in there, myself, Coyote Lation, and I Farm Girls in there sometimes. Few other people, Old Man's. Um, we're pretty much using the music in Leo. So what we're doing for the most part is we're dropping threads in there. So we're just taking the URL and popping it in there. Uh, but if a song's not in the database, maybe it's something that you want to reply to somebody or something. Uh, so you go to YouTube, find the song, grab the embed, and throw it in there. Uh, and then you can put the username and excuse me, the artist name and the song, and now it's in not the Music on Leo database, because we won't catch it, and we don't want to catch it because it's a sub thread, because it's under the threadcast, which those don't work very well for what we're doing. We need top line threads for the Music on Leo. But again, in the search feature, if somebody grabs, I don't know, Glenn Campbell,
mm-hmm.
I don't know what Glenn Campbell, Rhinestone Cowboy. So that's not in our database. So they go to Glenn Campbell on YouTube, they grab it, they throw it in there. Wonderful. Well, now if somebody searches Rhinestone Cowboy, that's what's going to come up. So it actually added to the Leo database. It actually added to the Leo that's on there. We're not capturing it, and ideally, we want to get to the point where we get put out of business, where we're not really capturing all this stuff, because it's like YouTube. YouTube doesn't have a list of the songs that you look at. You type it in and it pops up. And
Mm-hmm.
you type in Madonna and you'll get a list of her top songs on the right hand side. You'll get, you know, 5 or 10 other songs. And then you can type in the name of a song if you know it, like a virgin. So you type in Madonna like a virgin and you'll get that. And then of course, once you open up that song, then you get your recommend page. And the right hand side is just all other music you like. And you get the B-52s and whatever other, 1980s music there is.
Right, right.
That's the ideal thing to have built. And I don't know if the search and the recommend engines will ever get to that point, but there's search and there's a recommend engine. So will that improve over time? I mean, maybe I'll ask that in the AMA tomorrow, but my inclination is it will. So that's, but yeah, the party room, it's a good place to think of as, um, a big old playlist taking place. But people come in and, there's people who don't have premium subscriptions. And so they'll say, can you give me this song or a song by this artist? And so somebody will go grab it off YouTube and embed it. Um, but then again, if somebody says, I'd like to, I like so and so, if I know there's a singles page, it's like I'm grabbing that page, say, here, look at this. You know, I like Nigerian music. Here's the Nigerian playlist that I put together. I just keep trying to push those things out there. So again, they'll open it up, they'll look at it, and maybe they'll bookmark it.
I still have like a whole bunch of Neil Diamond songs written out that I want to go and find and put on there. And then Elton John, I have a whole bunch of those written down. So those are my next.
I meant to do that today.
What's
Can,
that?
can you do a quick web search? Ask how many songs are on Spotify. I meant to look that up today, and I don't know if we'll find it, but I'm just curious as to if, I mean, I could look it up, but I can't read it. I wonder if there will be an accounting.
Well, it came right up in the search bar. 100 million songs.
100 million. I guess 40 million. So 100 million songs. Now, okay, maybe all 100 million aren't on YouTube, but if there's 100 million on Spotify, I think it's safe to say there's at least 10 million on YouTube.
It's got to be close.
Uh, and maybe that's with duplicates and whatnot, but who cares? There's so much shit we could add and just keep adding and just keep adding and just keep adding that this thing will just grow. I mean, it just, that's what it takes. And
YouTube Music app has 100 million songs.
What's that?
YouTube Music app has 100 million songs.
There you go. I would imagine that's a little different than straight out YouTube. I imagine they cut some deals.
Yeah, because you have to pay extra for that.
Okay, so they have some deals with the record labels or whatever. But yeah, I mean, listen, the numbers that we're talking here, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Then how many? Check. I don't know if check playlists. Ask it how many Spotify playlists or how many YouTube playlists are there. I mean, we may not be able to get that information.
Four billion playlists on Spotify. I know, right?
So 100 million songs and 4 billion playlists. Okay. So now
there's got to be a lot of repetition there. I mean, of course.
Yeah, that sounds like the 100 monkeys with the typewriter, and you're gonna eventually get Gone with the Wind. Yeah, 4 billion playlists. You're guaranteed to have duplicates in there, even if people didn't know it, just simply because you're gonna have duplicate playlists. But yeah, so again, what are we talking about? If you want to be a player, you got to get this stuff in there. You have to get stuff for people to use. And what happens if Leo has 1 million songs on it? Where you go to the search engine and you type in Pat Benatar, the search bar, and all of a sudden you get a bunch of Pat Benatar songs, among other things. You get threads of people talking about Pat Benatar, but that's the point. Just, I mean, this is the stuff that we need to build, and everybody's focusing on. Oh, here's a picture of my lunch. Oh, good morning, friends. Oh, here's the weather. It's like, who cares? I mean,
the weather's going to change in about 2 minutes anyway, so whatever.
Yeah, and I don't give a shit what the weather is where you're at anyway, because I'm not there, so I don't give a fuck. Oh, it's rainy here. I don't care. I really don't care what the weather's like where I'm at. So why the hell would I care what the weather's like where you? I mean, it's just, oh, I've had such a long day. I don't give a shit. I mean, honestly, I don't care. Who cares? None of us care. People say, oh, that's too bad. They don't care. They don't know you. Who gives a shit? I mean, honestly, it's social media, and I understand, people go to engage and do that stuff, but fine, but at least put up some pertinent stuff once in a while. Post the score of a football match. I'm not into the EPL. I don't care. But if somebody says, "Hey, the score was 4-3 and this team won," wonderful. That's useful to somebody. I'm not an NHL fan, but Eric's posting NHL schedules all over the place. Wonderful. Somebody might be interested in that.
We have an IHL team in Milwaukee.
I think we got something in Orlando. I don't even know. Well, shit, we got two hockey teams. Oh, that's right. I was teasing Jongo. We got more Stanley Cups in Florida than Canada has in the last
Oh
25
no,
years.
really?
Yeah. Hell, before one team moved to Canada, we had as many teams in Florida as they had in Canada. Or no, maybe they had one more team. Yeah, they had one more team. But so I mean that's just I mean there's a slight interruption now because of technical difficulties, but this is why I say everybody has to start thinking like an owner. It is a business, and any increase, the entire platform picks up, as we're seeing. And by the way, Caleb Marvel, every day we top 200 page views. So he has a thread that is going to be eligible for evergreen content every single day.
That's awesome.
Think about that. He sets this up under his name, gets 200 page views, 250, 300 page views, whatever it is. And the next, when the contract's updated, it will include page views to reach that 200 threshold. He will be paid on that. So that's money for him. And I'm happy for him. I mean, it's like, I'll help get him to 200 every day. I'd love people to help him get to 2,000 a day. But these are the things. And what do we get? We get crickets for the most part. I mean, I've started 4 or 5 initiatives, just jump in and do it. Probably the Lions Den on Friday is going to be other ideas that people can do. I'll give you one idea. Anybody listening? Whatever your favorite site is, information site, whether you're in the technology, whether it's your favorite news site, whether you're in the sports and you go to ESPN, you go to FS1, you go to something on rugby, something on EPL, whatever your site is. If it's your local damn newspaper, go to it and grab a bunch of articles every day and put it in the News on Leo. You can go to any site and grab 10 articles and put them on News on Leo. Use the News on Leo, drop a thread for each article. And then I just then drop the article URL wrapped in the comment of the thread itself.
Mhm.
How hard is that? It doesn't take very long, trust me, because all you're doing is copy and paste. I just copy the headline and maybe, the subheading when they have that, put that in there, put the News on Leo, maybe something else. It has to do with, Joe Biden, or it has to do with sports, or it has to do with movies or whatever. Hit the thread button. Then I click on the comment, put I just type in article and wrap it with the article URL
Mhm.
and done. And you can do that with your local. I mean, hell, I've gone to the Los Angeles Times. I've gone to the New York Times. I've gone to uh, European stuff. I've gone to CNN. I've gone to ABC News. I've gone to ESPN. I've gone to Reuters. I've gone to Cointelegraph. I mean, shit, you can
Fox?
go.
You go to Fox?
Uh, yeah, I've gone to Fox. I've gone to Zero Hedge. I've gone to. I mean, you can go to any of them. Just go to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, and they have the damn news feeds there. Just click on every one of them and take that article and post it over. It's not that difficult, and it doesn't take that long. And this is stuff that adds to the platform. It adds to the URL. It adds to Leo AI. It feeds into it, and it increases your numbers. I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, we can't see how many threads we each post because that's been blocked out for a month now or whatever. But at some point, you will go to your user profile and it'll say Boomer Tunes 5,396 threads. Boom. Great. That's a lot better than seeing Boomer Tunes 53 threads. And I don't know, maybe, I mean, News on Leo, people click. I mean, to get to the article, they click on it. I mean, who knows what people do? I've had people respond to the News on Leo. Not a lot, but there's people who respond, and I respond back. So there's a couple more. I mean, that stimulates engagement. I mean,
Especially if it can be, sometimes if it's incendiary too, that
yeah, I mean, it's I tend not to get into that. I mean, it's
Mhm.
I'll post stuff about Joe Biden and Donald Trump based upon headlines, but it's I'm not going with the far right wing or far left wing, radical Tea Party right shit or woke radical left shit. It's just okay, Donald Trump's in court today. Okay, fine, put that up. Joe Biden, did whatever. Okay, put that up. War in Israel. Okay, put that up. I mean, just the facts, ma'am. And usually when you're grabbing a headline, it's just a headline, and they're clickbaity, but they're not as inflammatory a lot of times as the articles. But who gives a shit? I mean, I don't care if I piss people off. I mean, I piss them off by taking over the latest feed anyway. But this is a way to get more stuff on there, and that sets off the exponential. Um, and we see people doing different initiatives. I see Skip TV or TV Skips. I forget.
Oh, skip TV ads, yeah.
Yeah, I never know the name. I just see the image profile, and that's how I recognize him. He's been doing stuff with movies and just a little, trailer type thing, a little placard or movie poster, and just writing something about that. Cool. I mean, books on Leo. Adam Barrett is the one behind that. Great. Comedy on Leo. There's so many different ways to go. Who's your favorite actor? Who's your favorite comedian? Who's your favorite author? What's your favorite magazine? What's your favorite newspaper? What's your favorite whatever? What's your favorite sports team? Just find everything you can about that and just throw it up there, because first off, it helps with SEO, because if we have a lot of stuff up there now, I don't know how much threads actually helps. I tend to think they get ignored, but if there's stuff that there's enough of it and we start grabbing it and doing it on a Leo Glossary page, now all of a sudden you got stuff menu mapped, it could help. And okay, we're not going to do it with 220 playlists, but I guarantee you, if we get, what'd you say, 4 billion playlists?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we don't need 4 billion. If we get a billion playlists, we'll probably rank on playlists behind Spotify and YouTube Music, but we'll rank.
Oh, and there's also Amazon Prime Music too. They have an unlimited.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't know if they charge or if that's part of their
well,
Amazon.
some of it is part of the subscription, and then they have an unlimited tier where you get more songs you can listen to. Because I was a member, I paid for that for a while too, before I had Spotify.
Yeah, and again, Amazon to me is the best of the network effects and flywheels. And keep in mind, Amazon doesn't really have a social media platform. So when people say network effects are, well, I'm on Facebook because all my friends and family are on Facebook. You don't really give a shit who shops on Amazon. If your friends and family shop on Amazon or not, that's not going to, you know, deter you or motivate you to shop on Amazon. You're still going to shop on Amazon if you want to, because you're going to shop on Amazon. Um, it's kind of like Netflix. You don't give a shit who's on Netflix, because if Netflix has what you want, you're going to watch Netflix.
Right.
So modeling anything Amazon is doing is very smart. I've written about that and pushed that on Cal, and he sees it. He's grabbing onto it, and he's taking it onto it more from the development side of things. I'm trying to grab onto it more from the non-technical development side of things, and that's why I say, I mean, it's we should be filling this thing with as much information and as much sticky stuff as we can. When we get the ability to embed YouTube videos and tag them, we should be pounding the latest feed with that. Everything we can think of under the sun that has any type of staying power. You know, the Happy Days reunion, you know, old clips of Gilligan's Island, clips of Breaking Bad. I mean, clips of The Office. And I presume all this shit's on YouTube. I don't know, but I'd imagine it is.
Well,
Uh,
yesterday I was looking for clips of SVU because before we got our news, I was, going to go put some of those clips of SVU into the Super Bowl threadcast.
yeah, I mean, it's now that would have worked. That would have worked actually, you know, because they did appear in the threadcast. Now I don't know if you tagged it. I don't think if you tagged it, it would have indexed and been in the tag. But you know, at that point, you didn't care because you were putting it in there. But these are the things. I mean, that's the point. It's like here you are. You don't appear to be a football fan. You certainly weren't interested in the Super Bowl, from what I could perceive.
Not particularly. And then I wanted to hear Reba sing the national anthem. I didn't get to hear it till this morning. And I think it was Quora. My husband had the video on Quora, so he showed it to me. But
Yeah, well, that video should have been on Leo, so then you could have found it on Leo. But leaving that aside, um, you're not into this, but guess what? You were already thinking about ways where you could contribute. And this isn't your shtick. This isn't your thing. But you were like, okay, it's a Super Bowl. I can go to SVU. I can pull some of these. I can drop them in here. You are thinking of ways of engaging and enhancing and adding to the numbers and to the experience of every other user.
no, the threadcast is going to be there for a while, so I could still presumably go in there and you know throw stuff up that's related music or whatever
To what?
for the threadcast for the Super Bowl because that'll be sitting there for a while, won't it? I mean, that's not
Well,
going.
the Threadcast is there forever. I mean,
Mhm.
it's indexed. You can always go in and add more to a Threadcast even 2 years later. I mean,
Right. Okay.
nobody's really going to see it per se, but you could go in there and add to it, certainly if you wanted, or you could just. I mean, yeah. I mean that's the other thing with the playlists we have. The playlists are not like a Spotify playlist where you set up a Spotify playlist under your Spotify account. You can share it out, but I can't do shit with your Spotify playlist other than listen. On our playlist, I could go into Coalition's playlist and I could add more songs.
Right.
I mean, I don't know why I'd want to, but I could do it. Um, so, I mean, there's just all these variables where I just get dumbfounded all the time, Lisa, by people who say to me, I don't know what to do. You say be a business. I don't know what to do. What's wrong with you? Are you that indoctrinated into being a wage slave and exchanging your time for money that you cannot think like an owner in any capacity? Just do something, you know. Memes on Leo. Just post memes. I mean, Bradley Arrow's been doing it.
Yeah,
Fine.
I put up a few there
Yeah.
this afternoon.
And you know, it's I don't know if that'll get you anywhere, but it's something. It might get you some engagement, but think of something that you want to tag and that maybe you could build over time. Let's say somebody's into flowers, just talk flowers, build out the flower tag. So start posting everything you can do regarding flowers, all the different types of flowers, flower care, flower seeds, types of flowers, flower disease,
Arrangements.
you know, well, whatever. I mean, think of if somebody decided to do that and said over the next year, I'm going to add 5,000 threads related to flowers. And you can include pictures, you include history, you include, what events they're used for, gardening tips, you name it. I mean, what do you have after a year? You have a flower tag that's pretty powerful, and you're the flower guy or the flower girl. I mean, it's flowers on Leo. Become the flowers on Leo person. I bet there's not a lot of competition for that.
I shouldn't think. I wouldn't think there would be.
No, but again, it's that can apply to anything. I mean,
Hmm.
what hobbies do people have? Do you like restoring? I mean, here's one. How come nobody's done anything with cars? I know there's a lot of car enthusiasts out there. Nobody's done anything with cars. Somebody could take and create either using just threads or threads and long form. You could create a hell of a database about cars. All your classic cars, you can find pictures of cars, you can put the history of the Mustang or the Thunderbird or the Model T or cars in general or specs on cars, whatever. Nothing. Here's my lunch. I mean, it's here's a quote by somebody of how to be successful who probably had no success in their life. It's like, I really? No. It's so that's where being innovative comes from. And I don't even know how many different topics you could get into in terms of cars, flowers, collectibles, cooking. I mean, how many times have I said recipes on Leo? Have you seen one damn recipe? I mean, how hard is it to if you create your own recipes? Fine, put them on there. But find recipes online, and then you could go and you could go on YouTube and find food YouTube videos from the Food Channel and the Food Network and the cooking chat shows and all that other crap. Emerald and all those people. There, boom. Have fun. Knock
Yeah,
yourself
I'll
out.
bet you there's YouTube videos about with those in there. Although I don't know how closely the Food Network monitors that those getting out. They
Well,
seem
yeah, I mean, we don't give a shit because if they take it down, then you just get the videos no longer available and you just change.
right.
But it's the point is there's 1,000 things. I mean, if you're a Cowboy fan or a Laker fan or a Real Madrid fan, if you're a lover of history, if you're a lover of geography, if you're a lover of Italy or Ireland, I mean, these all you can build huge. I mean, you can go in so many different directions with this stuff. Trains, planes, boats, cruises. If you're a cruiser, Carnival and Royal Caribbean and the history of cruises, including the Titanic. I mean, what cruises are the best? What are your suggestions? Pricing, all kinds of stuff. I mean,
Yeah. Again, infinite. There's no end.
yeah, there is no end. And it's like, if you don't know what to do, it's like, do you have a zero life? I mean, do you really have zero life? Do you have zero interest? I mean, you must sit in a room with just carpeting, not even carpeting, because carpeting will catch your attention. So just a tile floor, white painted walls, and a stripped bed. I mean, do you have no interest? What do you like to eat? Well, yeah, I got a picture of my food. Well, fuck the picture of the food. Put up what the recipe is.
How'd
Uh,
you make it?
yeah.
How
Uh,
did you not burn it?
what do you like on TV? What kind of music do you like? What kind of films do you like? Do you like adventure? Do you like mystery? Do you like romance? Do you like drama? You know, do you like space? Do you like the ocean? Do you like fish? Do you like dogs? How about dogs? How about cats? How about pets? Do you like real estate? Do you like houses? Do you like mega projects? Do you like construction and big toys like bulldozers? I mean, I don't know. Fashion. It goes on and on and on. Do you like New York City? Do you like Mexico City? Do you like Paris? And you know as well as I do, you can put up a ton of threads about that. You can write long form posts about it, and you can find a ton of videos on YouTube and a ton of information online about it. You could have news about it. You can have people. I mean, think of cooking. How many celebrity chefs are there and cooks? Chefs and I don't know what's a female chef. Is that still a chef? I guess chef is
Yeah,
unisex.
still is.
Okay. Um, how many famous? I mean, I only know Emerald, but there's a ton of them. Well, how about information on them, what they're doing, what they're cooking, what books they have, what
What
restaurants
restaurants they own.
yeah, restaurants they owned, why they went broke, whatever. It just it goes on and on and on. Comedians, singers, painters, poets. I be there. There's this one account that posts poetry, which is cool, but expand on it. Post stuff about the different poets. Post stuff about poetry history. Tell me the fucking difference between Irish poetry and I don't know South American poetry. I don't know if there's a difference, but whatever. You know, these are things, and it doesn't have to be even broad. Maybe your love is the Great Wall of China. Maybe you're an expert on the Great Wall of China. Well, post everything you know and can find about the Great Wall of China. Very niche market. I don't know if most people would give a crap, but you'll find the four people who are really lovers of Great Wall of China over time. So, and maybe somebody sees what you're posting about the Great Wall of China and says, you know what, I can do something with that. Here's an idea. I mean, it's so. I have very little tolerance for people who are not contributing simply because if you have stake, you're an owner. Fucking do something. And there's no reason why you cannot be doing something.
Yeah, there's got to be something. There's got to be something.
And I don't buy the excuse of time because I can tell you, okay, contribute to News on Leo, do that 15 times a day. You can do that in under 5 minutes.
Right.
I've done it. You go to NBC News or BBC or something like that, Sky News or whatever, and you just go grab 10, 12, 15 articles. It's not that hard. And you just do quick copy and paste over. It takes very little time. And if you're going to go and grab articles or videos on YouTube on cooking or on food, takes very little time to do a search on YouTube for it and come up with 7 or 8 or 10 videos and just throw them on there and tag them. So I don't even buy the excuse I don't have much time. Have the time to show up on Leo and bitch about the nodes. You have time to bitch about your job. You have time to bitch about, whatever.
Yeah, trade that time for something else.
What's that?
Trade that time for something. I mean, trade that out for putting stuff useful.
Yeah, I've been putting up the otter videos.
Oh, those are cute.
Yeah, see, you watch them, didn't you?
A few of them, yeah.
Yeah, see, they're mesmerizing, aren't they? It's
Mhm.
addicting. You know, the two little otters and the shit they do. It's fascinating. You know, and it takes no time to put them up, and it's like a 6 7 minute video, and it's there. And I tag it otters. I don't know who the hell's ever going to search the tag otters, but if somebody does, they're going to see all those little videos. And to me, that's the bottom line. Is not these page views look like now, but what's the lifetime count of these suckers 5 years from now? How many quote unquote threads, because that's what it is. How many of these threads with songs, with videos, with whatever in them have 1,000 views? Just 1,000 views. Can we get 50,000 of them in 5 years? Sounds absurd, but again, when you can throw up 10 videos in no time. I mean, you've thrown up songs. When you get into the song, you can throw up 10 songs
Hmm.
in 5 minutes, 7 minutes. They're there. Boom. And once they're done, they're done. They're there. So to me, it's like these numbers are not outlandish.
Yeah, you're not writing anything about them. You're just throwing them up there.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't care what people think about them. And I mean, it's like the music room, the party room. We take a song, a URL from a song thread, and drop it in there. That takes no time, especially going off of off either the playlist or going off of the singles page. It takes no time, and now you have another version of the song there. Don't know if anybody will ever see it, but guess what? It's there. And you know, if we do that enough times, like you said, and that's a great way of framing it. I didn't think of that, but the party room is like just an enormous playlist. I mean, nothing's catalog, nothing's. But I mean, the search engine will find it, especially if they're just dropping the threads, because the threads have the artist name in the song, so they'll appear. And so you have two threads of the same thing. If one gets clicked on, still a page view. And how many of these can we get to 1,000 page views over the next 5 years? I mean, even that Super Bowl that got to 850 page views. Do we have any threads with 1,000 page views? I don't know.
I don't know either. No.
There may be some songs that I've done and played over the times from my earlier playlists that have 1,000 page views, but in fact, I think one playlist I guarantee you probably has over 1,000 lifetime clicks. Probably doesn't count much because it's all me, but there's not much. And but again, part of that is time. I mean,
Mm.
one of the reasons why, I mean, you look at these YouTube videos and you see when they were posted. It's like, well, this was posted 16 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, now I see why it has 35 million songs.
Right.
In fact, over the past 12 years, I probably listened to it 3,000 times. So, it's like that's just what happened. So, um, that's why it's just so important to keep thinking like an owner and keep. I'm so convinced, Lisa, on this database building stuff. I can't get away from it. And I see people posting stuff that, and even in the party room. But now that now that you now that you framed it that way, I'm going to think about that, because I kind of had a mixed issue, because I was dedicating over last week so much time to the party room.
Mm-hmm.
I was suffering elsewhere. But there is an impact, I believe, more than just the 1 day of page views and the 1 day of comments, which that's important too. But I think there is a longer term impact, especially if, and I have been tagging. So like today I did like 7 or 8 Madonna songs, and I did use the tag Madonna in my thread and then drop the URL from the Madonna singles page. So that has that has a value. And I guess I could go, especially now that things are locked up. I probably could go and find dupes of the same song. And what I mean by that is, let's say I know there's a version of Stairway to Heaven up there. So I go to YouTube and I grab another version of Stairway to Heaven. Let's say the one that's up there is the studio album,
Mhm.
the recording, and I go grab a live version.
Yeah, concert. What?
Yeah, yeah, and I post that, and then I do the Led Zeppelin Stairway to Heaven. Now I'm not adding the music on Leo per se, but I am adding to the database because that will presumably be found in the search. Again, if the tags are working, which I don't know, if it's being indexed. I'll have to try that at the second layer, see if anything being indexed there is picked up. But huh, some that's an interesting thought process. Thank you for bringing that up and making that observation.
Oh, you're welcome.
No, that's very valuable because
Cool.
that's essentially what it is. If you scroll down, you see all these different songs. They're playlists submitted by. It's a mega playlist submitted by a bunch of different people. So you go in there, you feel like putting up Neil Diamond. I go in there, I feel like putting up Madonna. Coyote Relations going in there, he's putting up some Brazilian fucking artists who don't even know what the hell they're singing, but that's what he wants. And Caleb Marvel puts up something else, and Old Man's puts up stuff from the 70s. So what? It's a giant playlist.
And that's how I do my randoms too. I just go through the artist pages and go, oh yeah, they don't necessarily go together. I mean, there's no real theme. It's just
No, no, it's like, okay, here's a Neil Diamond song. Okay, that's cool. Oh, David Bowie. Okay, there's a David Bowie song. Oh, okay. Madonna. Cool. Oh, Run DMC. Doesn't fit, but hey, I like this song. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like,
they're not even from the same decade. It's just
yeah,
like
they're not even same decade, not same genre. It's like a true mixture. It's like, okay, whatever. Wait till I tell Coyote Lation. I'm going to tell him that. There's 100 million songs on Spotify and 4 billion playlists. And so he better hurry up. And I'm going to tell him that there's 375,000 playlists by Brazilian artists. So he has to hurry the hell up because that's what he's built in his Brazilian playlists out. Um, yeah. So I mean, and that does, I believe, get us around. Well, I'll have to try to find out if it's being indexed. You might be right; it might not be indexed, but I mean, again, it's a numbers game. So even taking something from the singles page and drop them in the party room, that adds. So
well, this was a good talk. Thank you.
yeah, it's I spend so much time alone that a lot of times it's easier to talk your thoughts out, if that makes sense.
My
You
dad does
know,
that all the time. I can hear him when I go down in the basement. He's he's a bit.
Well, but yeah, I mean, I could do that. I do that too when I talk to myself. But the problem is, I always want to answer. And then you get crazy. You're not crazy if you talk to yourself, but if you start answering yourself, you need help. No, but it's the idea of talking things through and getting a little bit different, even if it's the same idea, a little bit different angle, and actually hearing some feedback on it. So that helps. And so this is where we stand. So hopefully Cal will come through with some new toys over the next couple weeks and create more work. But so be it.
Well, I hope they let me put this up on 3-speak because it's an hour and a half now. I don't know if it'll
Oh,
be.
they'll let you. It's just you compress it. You use
Oh, I didn't even think about compressing it. No.
oh yeah. You download what the fuck's the name of this? Handbrake.
You want to send me a link for that?
It's I don't have a link. I have the app.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's called Handbrake. Just
Oh,
Google
handbrake. Okay, like on the
Handbrake.
bicycle.
Yeah, like a bicycle or car handbrake. And handbrake, you probably could just type in handbrake, but handbrake compression if you want. And it'll be an app. It's a free app. You just download it. And then what you do is once you download it, you open it. Um, and once you get to the screen, it'll say file, open a file, where you click on that and you choose the file, the video file that you have. And then you go in there and um, I'll send you the settings that I use. I change on the bottom to MP4. That works better. I change one of the drop down menus to something else, and then you just hit start. It'll compress it, and it's a much smaller file to upload. So
Okay.
it increases your upload speed or de- decreases your upload time.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I finally got to do the one from last Monday, it took a while to get it up there. It was like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem is you're trying to upload 400 megs. It's like taking forever. So this will compress it down. You'll probably this video it'll compress it down to like 50 megs. A lot of my regular ones does like 22 megs or something very small.
Cool.
So
Okay. Well, everybody, thank you for coming, and presumably we'll see you again next week. It depends on I'm. We're supposed to be in Texas next week. We're leaving Friday.
well, when she says we, she's not saying me and her.
No,
I'm,
no. My
I'm not
husband
going to be
and
in
I are
Texas.
going to Texas.
I can guarantee I won't be in Texas this week or next week.
No, my husband and I will be in Texas next week, and depending on where we are on the road, we can probably pop in. Anyway, thank you for coming, and we will hopefully see you next week.